Three rockets had failed, not underperforming, not missing projections, failing. Each launch had ended in fire, wreckage, lost capital, and growing doubt about whether SpaceX could survive. At the same time, Tesla was under pressure. Money was tightening. Confidence was shrinking. Elon Musk was facing the kind of moment every leader eventually faces, the moment when what you know is no longer enough for what comes next. He did not respond by pretending to have all the answers. He went back to learning. He studied. He asked better questions. He returned to engineering principles, orbital mechanics, physics, systems, and the realities the previous failures had exposed. He did not treat failure as a verdict. He treated it as data. And then the fourth Falcon 1 launch succeeded. That is the leadership lesson for today. The enemy is not ignorance. The enemy is stagnation. Stagnation happens when reality keeps teaching us, but our behavior refuses to change. Information can make you sound smarter. Applied learning makes you stronger. So today's question is not, what do you know? It is, what must you learn now to lead what is coming next? Welcome to another episode of the Daily Leadership Brief. I am your host, Jason Safford, and today we are talking about stagnation in the face of the leader we want to become. This week, we're looking at how you grow and improve as a leader through repetition. And the hero of today's story is Elon Musk, who was basically facing a no return process in which his last rocket, the Falcon 1, was really his last chance for success in a lot of ways. And he was facing a lot of pressure with both SpaceX consuming capital and not really having the returns, Tesla not delivering with regards to the demand for orders versus their ability to deliver the product. And everything was becoming very, very expensive. But rather than shut down or react negatively, Musk actually used the pressure to improve himself. So going back to learning, it was not about improving his own ego. It was about understanding how he could help the organization succeed better. And the decision is about recognizing what failure is telling you. So through each new attempt, using the information that you've received from the failure to be able to ask better questions. And from those better questions, be able to receive knowledge that you can then apply. And from that application, being able to transform your result. So learning becomes power only when knowledge changes the next action. And thinking about the breakthrough of what Musk was able to achieve, it had everything to do with how he was applying himself. And thinking about the last week in terms of developing yourself as a leader and understanding command, mission, order, stillness, and listening in terms of how you protect your attention, this week is more about being able to use those skills and now repeating them in a more effective and efficient way through learning, adapting, recovering, contributing, and finishing. So that is what this week is about. The central leadership question for today, what must you learn now to lead what is coming next? This is being able to look ahead. Your question forces us out of passive education and into strategic planning. And it's not about what interests you, it's about the mission that is being required. So every new level of leadership exposes a new knowledge gap. And that is where the opportunity to learn is what growth requires in terms of being able to address circumstances. Information is not the same as learning. You will hear me say that over and over again. We are inundated with information, and our capacity is shrinking as more and more information comes at us. Applied learning is being able to take the relevant information you need and use it towards a result that allows you to learn. Stagnation is when you don't get better. It is when you don't change your behavior, when you see the same result and don't try to find a different way, but instead make excuses, blame people or the situation rather than becoming more adaptable. So, the key for today is to convert one useful idea into a changed behavior. Looking at the question, being able to listen, reviewing what has been done, and trying something new and observing the results from the new action. The algorithm for today is knowledge to action flow. In this algorithm, we are basically selecting the problem we want to work on, extracting the information from what is wrong with our testing, then finding a way to translate that into a change within ourselves and how we approach that problem, applying that new behavior, that new direction, and recording the evidence from what happens from our new actions. And from there, we want to study one particular area, in terms of being able to grow our resilience, which is also growing our revenue, and that is follow up, being able to identify where the pattern repeatedly breaks and understanding that when we are able to correct those patterns, that is when revenue becomes more resilient, when organizations are faster than the recurring failures that are compounding. So today's leadership capacity is all about learning agility, being able to recognize the knowledge gap, being able to release what you already know, creating new physical discipline in terms of how you review the problem and the opportunity, choosing truth over your ego, being very realistic about what you know and what you don't know, and then being able to creatively translate it into a better approach to solve the problem. So the framework that we are working on from this lesson today is called the Learning Conversion Test. And the Learning Conversion Test is all about reviewing at the end of the day the reality of what was taught to you today, looking at the evidence, okay? Making sure that whatever you applied in terms of behavior, if it gave a different result and that result mattered, being able to record it and recognize it. So understanding how you're able to change so that you can apply it moving forward, and then sharing it with someone else. Because if you do not share it with someone else, you will not learn it that much better for yourself. As always, there's a daily practice. This morning, I want you to focus on your choice. Think about your own leadership capacity and what is it that you want to strengthen in your leadership capacity. Identify what difficult application that you tend to avoid and say to yourself, you're not going to avoid it today. You're going to use some courage and tackle it first. Then you're going to look at one of your sources that deserves study. And finally, you're going to block off time. You're going to make sure you set a boundary to take care of yourself. The evidence is always proving the learning. From the one source, get one insight, create one change behavior, and record the results. And then, as always, share it with someone else. Teach what changed you, give that useful insight to somebody else, and then help them apply it. And your affirmation and installation for doing that is I am a leader who turns learning into operating advantage. So today's word, one word intention for me is learn. And I want you to come up with your own one word intention, write it down, share it, post it, make sure that people know that this is your intention for the day. And at the end of the day, look at how well you applied that intention. Learning is only the beginning. Again, you can find out more about my frameworks, tools, algorithms at winyourdaybook.com if you want to buy your own copy. And also become a member of the Resilience Universe. It is a growing collaborative network where we are trying to build resilience in each other. As always, I am your host, Jason Safford, and I want you to go out there and win your day.